Lift our hearts, lift our strains, let's revere our school of fame, ever true, loyal through, for our colors white and blue. Dear Princeton High School, our love, our pride, we've always held you as our shining guide, our joys, our sorrows, hopes, dreams, and fears. We shared in PHS halls, we'll live through coming years.
In the Princeton High School Gymnasium, where we are awaiting the start of tonight's basketball clash between the Parkersburg Big Reds and the Princeton Tigers, both of which coming into tonight's ball game with identical 4-2 marks on the season. I've got Glenn May alongside, Bob Graham, Charlie Wright, and Jack Clair is down on the far side. And we've got a special pregame guest we'll be talking to in just a little bit. And we'll be back with tonight's pregame show right after this. Back in the Princeton High School Gymnasium, I've got assistant basketball coach from Concord College, Mr. Steve Cox, alongside. First of all, Coach, we'd like to welcome you aboard.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here, Craig.
We're specifically interested right now in basketball because we're right in the heart of basketball season and basketball country in southern West Virginia. We feel as though we raised some awful fine talent in this area.
I have to agree with that, Craig. We've had several young men that play for us at Concord from the southern West Virginia area. I'm not a native of the area. I came from central West Virginia, the Salem, Parkersburg area, and we find that the basketball tradition here and basketball talent as a whole is very fine.
Of course, Concord experiencing a fine season this year. I'm not sure what your win-loss record is right now. You want to catch us up to date on that?
Yeah, we're 8-7 right now. We've been very competitive since the beginning of the season. Early on, we had some injury problems, and we were also waiting for a fine transfer student, Tracy Poindexter, to become eligible. And since Tracy has become eligible, and we've gotten Randy Jennings back in good form again, then we've won 5 games and lost 2, and both losses have been close. So we're real pleased with our progress up to date. We're 8-7 overall.
Of course, in the WAEC, a lot of people don't realize that there's some horrendous opponents you got to go against, and talent that it's hard to cope with.
It surely is. I think that the West Virginia Conference is one of the strongest and best balanced small college conferences in the country. And we played Fairmont State last night, and they put a starting lineup on the floor that was 6'9", 6'8", 6'7", and they brought 2 more 6'7" kids off the bench. I don't think you'll find that kind of overall size at even WVU and Marshall, and they're just a super basketball team, and we were very pleased to be able to play against them. We hope we can do a little better next time.
Well, of course, I haven't had a chance to see Tracy Poindexter play, but I understand he complements your team well. But you've got a young fella out there who a lot of people in our listening area are interested in. He's just a freshman. His name is Tom Cook.
Yeah, we're very pleased with Tom. Tom is from, of course, Athens High School. He is a freshman, and we evaluated Tom. We watched him a lot last year, and to be quite honest with you, he's better than we thought he was. And it's difficult. I've said this many times. We have several Class A players, kids that played at Class A schools on our squad, and we believe that that you will find talent in the Class A schools. But it is difficult to evaluate those kids when you see them in high school. Many times they play on small floors. Many times they don't play against tall opposition, and we really don't know when we take a kid like that until we see him play against our own people. How well he's going to do. And Tom has been a very pleasant surprise. Not only is he a fine athlete, but he's an outstanding student as well.
A lot of things that another bearing on that, I imagine, would be the type of offense and defense that he's taught to play in high school, and he has to make a big change coming into the college.
I think any student coming from the high school ranks makes a change, regardless of what level he played at, because quite frankly, most of the people that we get are going to be stars at the high school level. and whether they play AAA, AA, or single A, and when they reach the college setting, they may have to learn to accept another role, and that is always an adjustment problem. And just like when you go up from grade school to junior high, from junior high to high school, the talent keeps getting better and better, and that jump to college is a big one.
You got to go from being a big frog in a little pond to being a little frog in a big pond.
That's right, and sometimes a tadpole. I tell you, it is really tough, and some people never make that adjustment, and that's the thing we've been very pleased with youngsters like Tom. It's easy to have your confidence damaged with a few bad experiences, but it doesn't seem to shake him. He doesn't get upset when he goes in the game, and right now I'd say he's probably about our seventh man, and he plays several minutes in every game.
All righty. I've got Steve Cox alongside, and we'll be back to talk with him some more during our pregame show when we return right after this.
You go from grade school to junior high to high school. You go from grade school to junior high, that's what you think 10 times. Then you do the same, you get in.
Back in the Princeton High School gymnasium, I've got assistant basketball coach from Concord College alongside, and Steve Cox, and I'm sure he's having some trouble concentrating right now, but I believe I've got his attention now. Coach Cox, of course, you've been at Concord College for about 4 or 5 years. A lot of people wonder, well, how did you ever find your way into Athens?
Well, first of all, this is starting my 3rd year. I know I look old, but I just don't worry a lot. I originally came from the Parkersburg area, and my family's home is in Salem, West Virginia, which is the home of Salem College, and I played Class A basketball there at a place called Bristol High School. The road came through and took out the town and the school. We don't have anything there now. They're consolidated with Parkersburg Liberty. And, of course, I attended Salem College, and Coach Christie was the basketball coach there at that time. I went out for the basketball team and got cut. And so I was one of those that did not make the adjustment. But I always loved basketball and played intramurals and independent ball and followed the game very closely and wanted to coach. And so when I got out of college and went to Parkersburg and worked there in the grade school and junior high system, and Coach Christie's job opened up, or the assistant job, and Lou Pelliccioni left Concord to go to WVU, and I applied and was able to get the job.
All righty. So, well, now that you're in the area, let's talk a little bit about the high school talent and the high school balance that we have around our area this year. I'm sure you got a lot of talent to look at for your scouting purposes, don't you?
We sure do. And, of course, what we have to do is evaluate, first of all, what we think our needs are as a team. And obviously we're always going to be looking for somebody in the 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" range. We'll always have a need like that, but we have to determine if we think we need a guard or if we don't, we should wait till the next year. And again, we have to look then the people that we have the potential to recruit, and we'll approach it from that standpoint. You take a young man like Jimmy Miller, who is obviously going to be heavily recruited for the big timers. We surely will let Jimmy know we'd love to have him, but we try not to spend too much time on him because obviously people with a lot bigger budgets than us are pursuing him.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that right here in our area, of course, AAA basketball is what gets most of the attention. But we have some fine Class A teams right here in Mercer County, and we have some hot competition. You got Athens and Montcalm and Oakville now, of course, back in the basketball scene. And of course, you got a fine guard from over Montcalm way.
Yeah, we sure do. We're just tickled to death with him. And Randy Jennings, I feel, well, we would not trade him one up for any other guard in the conference. Now, I don't know, maybe we're not objective. We just think he does a super job for us and helps us in so many ways. And yes, all the teams that you mentioned have fine teams. Bramwell, Matoga as well. It's just we try to look at those kids, and many times, like I say, kids can be effective at that level, and we just have to try to make the decision whether we think they can be effective at ours. And we've been lucky on recruiting Class A kids, and we want a good basketball player regardless of where he plays. If it's the biggest school in the state or the smallest, if we can find him, we'll sure take him.
All righty. I've got Steve Cox alongside. We'll be back to the Princeton High School gymnasium right after this commercial message. I've got Steve Cox alongside. Of course, I'm Craig May in the Princeton High School gymnasium, and we're discussing the all-around topic of sports. We just finished up with basketball. Coach Cox, you're also on the Concord College faculty as head golf coach. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I am the head golf coach, and using that term rather loosely, I was the head golf coach before I had ever played a round of golf, so I've approached it from an analytical standpoint rather than a performance standpoint. But we do have golf at Concord, along with tennis and baseball and several other sports that do not achieve all the attention that basketball and football get. And we have a really good time at it, and we try not to take it too seriously, but at the same time we try to compete the best we can, and we've been fairly successful.
Concord College, of course, has an excellent athletic facility and athletic opportunities for their youngsters out there. And what's the enrollment this semester? About 2,100 or something like that?
2,200, and we're very pleased with that. Quite frankly, we think Concord is as fun a place to attend college as any place. For a small school environment, I think the facilities are outstanding. I think the people resources there are as fun as any you'll find in the state.
Of course, you mentioned that you were in coaching on the junior high and high school level, and now on the college level. What type of profits do you see that athletics gives to a youngster in his scholastic endeavors?
Well, I think it's just, I don't know, the relationships that you get with other young men and the idea of working together and striving for a common goal. I don't mean to sound hokey or sound like Vince Lombardi in this, but I do think that a student that goes through school and does not participate in something extracurricular, whether it be band, trying out for the dramatics club, something, I think they miss something in their total overall educational development, and I think athletics is a very wholesome way for a student to develop both his body and his mind, and I think there are memories that you've gained from athletic competition that go with you all your life.
All righty. We've been talking with Steve Cox, and we'd like to thank you for stopping by and chatting with us for a few minutes, Coach, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the season.
Greg, I've enjoyed it, and thanks for having me.
All righty. Thank you. We'll be back with more of the pregame show right after this commercial message, so don't go away.
All righty. They got me back in the saddle here with the headset on. I guess everybody can hear me all right. We got Bob Graham and Charlie Wright sitting alongside. Welcome aboard, Bob.
Well, thanks very much, Glenn, and I'm kind of glad to be back after 10 days off. I really didn't know what to do with myself on Tuesdays and Friday nights.
Well, I know what a lot of people suggest you can do it yourself.
My wife suggests I have enough work to do around the house to keep me busy.
I've heard stories about the bridge over the lake and the river. You go and jump.
Oh, no, I don't know anything about those.
You heard any of those, Charlie?
I haven't heard anything.
Charlie, your mic's on.
I haven't heard anything like that, Clair.
Oh, I see. Welcome aboard, Charlie Wright.
Good to be here. I'm like Bob. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of sick over the weekend, but I didn't know what to do with myself.
Sick of what?
I don't really know. Just coughing. I don't know what to stick up. I was looking here at the lineup, Glenn, and I remember this from last year, this 6'2" senior here, Ralph Moore. And I remember him as a good shooter. So it may be interesting tonight.
You got an interesting story about him, haven't you, Charlie?
What?
He's got a brother, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Plays for West Virginia, Noah Moore.
Yeah, the younger brother of Noah Moore.
That's right.
And I understand that, of course, this youngster can beat his brother in anything, one-on-one, a horse, or whatever. But then again, he plays in tougher competition. Is that right?
Now, Jack may have something to say about that.
And Jack and Mike down there so he can defend himself. Listen.
All right, Jack.
Welcome aboard, Jack.
Thank you, Glenn.
And we got to dig you a couple of times there.
Well, West Virginia's winning, you they're going pretty good right now.
Well, everybody takes shots at the winners, right?
Right, yeah. You got to take the good with the
But see,
bad.
when you're winning, you can afford to laugh and tell jokes. It's the losers that cry and say deal.
Are you true about that?
Right now, Wake is saying it.
Wake's only lost one game, though.
That's right. That's first loss. And by the way, the Tigers coming in tonight after a 10-day break. Now, Jack, you're an old athletic hand and been around for a long time around athletics. Do you believe that 10 days off like this in the middle of the season helps or hurts?
Well, they've only played 6 games. And they've got 14 more to go. A break at, say, maybe 14 games into the season would be better than a break now. And now the schedule's more congested towards the end and into the playoffs. 10 days is a long time. A 5-day layoff would be better.
Okay. We're going to pause for this commercial message. We'll be back with starting lineup. So we'll be back right after this. They're circled if you can't read that. All righty, we got some starting lineups over here. And Charlie, what do you got for the Big Red?
Okay, for Big Red tonight, they'll start Richard Moore, Greg Cutler, Brian Eddy, and Jeff Eddy, and Tony Goody. Is that right? Gowdy.
G-O-U-D-Y, I believe it is.
And reserves might be Mike and Ben Wilson, James Morris, Mike Eakins, Jeff Rohr.
Now, Parkersburg didn't have a lot of size on paper, but they play a lot bigger than that, doesn't they?
Yeah, I think they do. They only have 6'4" here's Jeff Eddy and 6'2" Richard Moore, but they're probably quick and they're probably pretty
strong.
Strong, yeah.
That Eddie kid running back in football season, boy, he wore us out.
Right, sure did. Strong kid.
And now Mr. Graham has done all the figuring he can do. He's got a headache. His calculator blew a fuse, but he's got some Princeton starters and stats.
My Sears Roebuck calculator is guaranteed to work now. Through 6 games, Princeton is averaging 68 points per game and giving up 50 points per game. The starters tonight will be Jimmy Miller, of course, and Jimmy on the season scored 177 points for a 25.28 per game scoring average. The other starter, James DeWitt at forward, has scored 104 points through 7 games for a 14.8 average. Mike Eads, the starting guard, who had an excellent ball game against Bluefield, scoring 21 points, scored 110 points on the season, averaging 15.7 points per game. Jeff St. Clair had a 13-point game against Bluefield in the last outing, has 51 points on the season for a 7.28 per game average. Stephon Strain on the season, he again had an excellent game against Bluefield. I think he had 5 field goals in that game, and he's averaging just over 5 points a ball game. And of course, we might mention that David Phillips is not dressed tonight and will not be able to play in this game tonight, but will be back for the next ball game. So the leading reserves will be
say hello to Aaron, will you?
Jeff Adams. Hello, Aaron. Will be Jeff Adams and Scooter Will, Joseph Harrison, and Harris.
Okay, Charlie, you got something on that JV game?
Yeah, sure do, Glenn. Parkersburg kind of took it to Princeton here in the JV game, 74-62. Leading scorers for Parkersburg were Jim Morris, he had 18, Britt Dills had 10, Joseph Wright had 10, Mark Mikes had 10. For Princeton tonight, Mike Tabor had 14, Joseph Harris had 12, and Rusty Harris had 12.
Okay, now we're going to be back with basketball. First, let's pause for this. Okay, as they sound the buzzer, we get ready for basketball here tonight. As the Big Red around their coach, the Tigers still in the dressing room. There they come out. Jimmy Miller leading them out. By the way, you notice the new pom-pom girl uniforms and cheerleader uniforms with the bandana hanging on the pocket? Or on the back. I don't guess it's on the pocket.
That's right. I noticed those, and I also noticed that they're selling those bandanas out in the hallway. The Christian athletes are selling the bandanas, and there are a number of them up in the stands.
The pom-pom girls and the cheerleaders out right now while they're playing the Tiger Fight song, and the cheerleaders in very nice white jumper type short skirt and tops with pleated, and the dark blue sweaters and the dark blue socks, and of course the pom-pom girls in the almost a navy blue short and jumper outfit with a white stripe and whatever else you call a trim, it's Rick Rank, what do they call that stuff, Bob?
I don't know.
Well, maybe somebody will tell us so sooner or later, I guess. I don't know.
But, you were talking about the Princeton cheerleaders and pom-pom girls. Craig May said he was especially fond of the appearance of the Parkersburg cheerleaders.
Well,
at halftime, we might ask him to explain that.
Craig's been known to try to jump a barbed wire fence because things look good on the other side and fall short. All right, we're going to introduce the Parkersburg starting lineup, and we'll see Jeff Eddy going out. He's a senior, of course. Everybody remember him from football season. He's about 6'4". Looks like he'd go about 210, 215. They list him at 195, but he's heavier than that. And Joe Woods That for Joe is a real aggressive jumper. Boy, he can sky. And of course, Richard Moore. Now, Moore is the younger brother of Noah Moore of the Mountaineers. And Brian Eddy. Now, Brian is not the brother of Jeff Eddy. He's a cousin. And Greg Cutlip, the other starter. So the Parkersburg team does their roustabout cheer and come back to the bench. Bill Camp in his first year at Parkersburg High School, coach. And Bill at one time was at Davis Nelkins College. Or Olsen Brothers. He's one of them.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure which, but he's one of them for a while. And of course, they introduced the wheelhouse to the Tigers first. Now, wheelhouse is Jimmy Miller. And by the way, we got to pay a couple of dues. Jimmy tells me I've got to say hello to Melvin Miller. Melvin is Jim's dad, and he's listening in tonight. He couldn't be here in person. And also, Michael Earl Leeds tells me that Uncle Joe Thorne is listening to the game. And we extend our welcome to him. And Mike said to tell me to make sure everybody knew that he was first cousin once removed to Rod Thorne. Does that make him second cousin?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. But Jim needs 74 points to get his 1,000 career points here at Princeton High School. We're certainly looking for that to come about within the very near future. And we hope that no injuries would compel him to cause that to happen. Of course, the Tigers have Norfolk next Tuesday night over at the Brushfork Armory. And, of course, Greenbrier East then on the next Friday night, a week from tonight. So the Big Red break their huddle. They're in a red uniform with black and white trim on it. And now Parkersburg playing Preston here tonight. Will be playing in Beckley tomorrow night against the Flying Eagles. As the Tigers go out with Eads, Strain, Miller, St. Clair, and who done this? DeWitt, James DeWitt. Miller's in, Eddie's in. We're waiting on the official now. As the official puts it up and it's tipped. And picked up by DeWitt for the Tigers. As DeWitt runs it down, puts it on the floor now. As Parkersburg playing a man-to-man defense, an aggressive man-to-man defense. As St. Clair takes the ball, goes toward the top of the key, gets it to Miller way out high, and he gives it back to St. Clair. As Eddie is on Miller man-to-man. As DeWitt with the ball on the wing, right side, comes toward the lane, gives it to Miller on the baseline, firing off the baseline. Good. Jim Miller from about 18 feet out, pops it in. 10-0, Tigers on top. As Moore will bring it to the front court for Parkersburg. As Moore on the dribble with it. Bring it to the corner to Cutlip. Cutlip goes into Eddie. Goes across the lane. Fires. No good. Rebound comes off to Miller. Miller gets it out of traffic. Got to Eads. Eads in the front court with it. Right side. Picks up more traffic. Goes under. Lays it up. No good. DeWitt rebounds. Puts it up. Good. James DeWitt. And Parkersburg fast breaking as they bring it up court, trying to get it to Brian Eddy, and Eddy loses it out of bounds. It'll be out to the Tigers in the back court. 7-11 to play, and the Tigers out 4-0. As Jeff St. Clair will bring it to the front court now. As St. Clair on the dribble with it. Gives it to Miller. Miller starts down the lane, goes in, lays it up. It's good, and he is fouled. And does anybody notice the Tigers' new uniforms tonight?
No, but you're right. There are new uniforms.
Who's the foul call on? Call on Joe Woods. That's his first foul. And Miller will be at the free throw line. The bucket, did they count the bucket? It's 6-0. Bucket was good. So Miller will have one free throw. As Jim's on the line, he fires. It's in and out, no good. And Stefan almost put it back up, but it comes off to Parkersburg. As Moore gets it out to Eddie. This is Brian Eddy. Gives it to Jeff Eddy. Goes down the lane, runs over Miller. We got a whistle on a foul, and maybe on Miller for a block. It is. That's on Jim, and that's number 1 on Jim. Team foul number 1 on the Tigers. It'll be out to the Big Red. Parkersburg will take it on the baseline. As Moore will inbound it. He pulls the trigger, drops it underneath to Eddie, puts it up, and DeWitt really dropped the hammer on him. So the foul's on DeWitt, but he didn't get any bucket out of it, did he? That's number 1 on DeWitt. Team foul number 2 on the Tigers, and that'll put Jeff Eddy on the free throw line for Parkersburg.
Glenn, the thing I remember from that game last year up at Parkersburg was the fact that there were very few fouls called in the ball game.
I thought you were going to talk about that official talking to the coach.
No, I think we've told that story until it's wore out.
Eddie fires the first free throw. It's good. He'll get a second one. But it's already changed here tonight, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
They just now shot a free throw. They didn't shoot one up there. Eddie fires again. It's off the iron. No good. Rebound comes down to the Witt. In traffic. Waits for it to clear. Brings it up to the front court by himself. Starts it down the right side. Goes to Stefan on the baseline. Firing good. It's Stefan Strain. Puts it in. 8-1. The Tigers up. As Richard Moore brings it to the front court for Parkersburg. Starts it to the left side. Gets it to Jeff Eddy out on the wing. Back to Noah Moore. Comes across the top of the key with it to Brian Eddy. As they go low on the baseline to Jeff Eddy. Puts it up, and we got a whistle. And a foul. And it'll be number 2 against Miller. And by the way, the officials here tonight is Tony Lusk and Claude Miller. That's foul number 2 on Jim. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers. And the Tigers want timeout. So with 6:25 left to play, it is Princeton 8, Parkersburg 1. We'll be back right after this. Even though he's got a funny looking haircut. We're on now, by the way. We're talking about the Parkersburg Ballpark. Jeff Eddy is a fine athlete, and he is an athlete. And he's playing Miller head up here tonight, giving away about 4 inches. 3.5 inches, so.
But he's probably got an advantage of about 20 or 25 pounds.
Yeah, he's quite a bit heavier. So now the Tigers back out there, and we'll have Eddie on the free throw line to shoot 2. 6:25 left to play in the first quarter. Tigers 8, Parkersburg 1. Has Eddie on the line. He fires. It's good. He'll have a second one. As Eddie will be on the line for one more. He fires. Pulled it short. Rebound. Tipped out. Picked up by St. Clair. As Jeff into the front court to Miller. Goes under. Slammed up. Got away with a travel. Short in. But it counts. 10-2. Tigers up. As Moore brings it back to the front court for Parkersburg. Gets it to Cutler. Cutler goes down to the lane. And St. Clair slaps the ball away from behind. And he brings it out to the front court. Goes down into the lane. Fires off the glass. No good. Miller rebounds. Puts it up good. And he was bumped from behind, but no call. Tigers out 12-2 now. As Moore brings it to the front court for Parkersburg. The Witt hits him off, and Moore slides across the floor. And there's a traveling call on Richard Moore. As the Witt jumped in front of him and cleared out of the way, and Moore sat down. So Jeff St. Clair brings it to the front court for the Tigers. As Cutler picks him up. Jeff picks up the dribble, looking for help, gets it from Miller. As Miller comes way high, standing out top of the key with it. Drives on Eddie, starts down the lane. We got a whistle and a foul on Eddie. Now look, that foul right there is a direct result of a timeout call. That's number 1 on Jeff Eddy. Team foul number 2 on Parkersburg. But again, that's the way the game is played, and of course Ralph Ball knows that, and he does the best that any coach down there. He makes sure he gets his viewpoints made. So James DeWitt inbounds it to Mike Eads. Eads out front with it to St. Clair. They go to Miller on the post. He is fouled from behind by Eddie. That's number 2 on Eddie. Number 3 on the team for Parkersburg. And it'll be Tiger ball on the baseline. DeWitt will inbound it for the Tigers. As DeWitt flips it into Eads. Eads firing off the baseline. Off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Moore of Parkersburg. Leads it out to Brian Eddy. Brian goes to Cutlip. He puts it up and in. As Greg Cutlip gets the bucket for the Big Red. 12-4. The Tigers up. Jeff St. Clair will bring it to the front court for the Tigers. Starts it to the right side. Works it back toward the top of the key. Leads it underneath for Miller. Fires. No good. He was fouled as he went to the bucket by Richard Moore, I believe. And that foul saved Parkersburg from taking 2 points. That's team foul number 1 on Mort, and team foul number 4, number 1 on Richard Moore. That's what it is.
Team foul number 1 on Mort, 4 on the team.
Yeah, whatever it was. So DeWitt inbounds it for the Tigers. And an inbound pass intercepted by Eddy, Brian Eddy, on the break. Where it goes down, St. Clair tries to deflect it, cannot. It's tipped away, picked up by Moore. We got a whistle.
Foul on Stefan.
And foul on Stefan Strain. That's number 1 on Stefan. Team foul number 4 on the Tigers. So it'll be out of bounds to the Big Red on the baseline. 5:07 left to play in the first quarter. It is 12-4. The Tigers on top. As Richard Moore inbounds it to Brian Eddy out top of the key. To Moore back in the corner. Firing from deep in the corner. Off the iron. No good. Rebound to Jeff Eddy. In traffic. Miller knocks it away. Miller's down. and he got hit in the eye by Eddie's elbow or ball. I don't know which.
He called a charging foul on Eddie, I believe.
He called a foul, but I don't know what. It's on, and Miller's lying on the floor, and now Ralph Ball's going out, but Miller got hit in the eye.
I'm sure that was not intentional on the part of Eddie, but he...
And let's see who the foul's called on. Is on Eddie. So that's number 3 on Eddie. But Miller got hit, and I think the left elbow got him on the cheekbone or on the eye. Jim's up now and wiping it. The side of his face is red, but it looks like he's all right. But it was unintentional. Eddie just trying to move toward the basket, and I thought the ball had hit him at first, and Jim's now stopping as he comes over. He's got some blurred vision out of the eye. Is there any cut, Craig? Anybody see any blood or any cut?
I don't think there's a cut. I think there's a goose egg right underneath his eye.
It's cut. Just like he does it.
He may have a slight cut right about the edge of the eyebrow. And we'll keep you posted. Oh, I'm sure it is. They'll get some ice on it. As Jim goes into the locker room, they'll get some ice on that real quick. And we're going to get Jeff Adams into the ball game for the Tigers. And he'll shoot the free throws. The Tigers on top with 5:01 left to play in the first quarter. Mark that down. 5:01 when Jim was injured. Let's see what happens from here then. As Adams fires the free throw, no good. Rebound to Stephon. Puts it back up out of the lane. He is fouled, and he was fouled by Woods, Joe Woods. And that's number 2 on Woods. Team foul number 6 on the Big Red. So we'll have Stephon on the free throw line. He'll fire 2. He puts the first one on the way. It's no good. Off the side iron. He'll have a second one. As Stephon fires. It's good. 13-4. When you can. As Moore brings it to the front court for Parkersburg now. Firing off the side of the lane, no good. Rebound pulled down by Cutler for Parkersburg. Fired and ball. Stephon pole-waxed him. And the ball deflected out of bounds. It's off of the strain. But boy, did Stephon get his money's worth on that one. No call. He really dropped the hammer on him. As Moore inbounds it to Cutler. To Brian Eddy, top of the key, firing. Off the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Adams. Gets it out to St. Clair. Jeff on the move to the front court with it. Down the right side, behind the back dribble. Comes to the top of the key. Moves it back toward the far side. And going underneath with it to Eade, working the baseline. Mike comes across the lane. Fakes. Leads it over to DeWitt. DeWitt puts it up and in. On a pretty feed from DeWitt. And DeWitt steals the inbound pass. Fires good. As DeWitt with 4 quick ones there. As the up-court pass from Moore into the front court now. He deals down into the lane. Firing off the iron, no good. Moore, rebound to Moore. Fires again, no good. Rebound knocked loose. Picked up by Eddy. And is knocked out of bounds by DeWitt. But now they'll jump it between Eddy and DeWitt. Craig, go check that out because people are listening. They may be worried on that. And now the Parkersburg calls a timeout. So 4:11 left to play in the first quarter. It is Princeton 17, Parkersburg 4. We'll be back right after this. 4:11 left to play in the first quarter. Seems like it's been an awful long quarter, doesn't it?
Sure does. Yes, sure.
Anybody knows that but me?
It got very long when Jimmy went down on that play.
17-4, the Tigers are leading right now, and the quarter's not half over. You know, this could be a 35-point quarter if they continue.
Sure could.
Yeah, Princeton's shooting 73% right now, Glenn.
73%?
Made it out 11. That's getting pretty good, isn't it?
That's about like...
Well, 73, it's all right for Sandlot. 73% for the Tigers shooting percentage in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Chad, that was your first whole total on the first 18 rounds he shot with you.
Yeah, first 9. James DeWitt to jump against Brian Eddy. As he tosses up, and DeWitt tips it to Eads. Eads to the front court with it, looking for help, looking for St. Clair, couldn't get him open as he comes. Jeff is coming down the other side. Now Eads backs it off, goes under, lays it up. No good. Rebound pulled down by Moore. Knocked loose. We got a foul on Adams, I believe. No, it's Parkersburg ball. Okay. As the Big Red inbounds it, Moore with the ball in the backcourt. And St. Clair picks him up. As Moore moves it to the right side, brings it to the front court. As he gets it over to Cutler. Now Moore with the ball, top of the key to Eddie. Eddie goes down low with it. Woods put the shot up, no good. Rebound comes off with Stephon, throws out the Tigers, lose it, picked up, and the up-court pass intercepted by DeWitt. So the Tigers still with the ball. And now they go back to Stephon, goes across the lane, fires, it is in and out, no good. And the rebound pulled down by Jeff Rohr, Parkersburg, who checked into the ball game in place of Jeff Eddy. And we got a big pile-up down in the free throw lane, and they unstack them, and they're going to pick two of them to jump, and it will be Rohr, Adams. And Adams. No, don't tell me right now. As the tip controlled by the Tigers, as Eads picks it off, gets it to St. Clair. Jeff on the point position, starts it to the left side. Back to Eads. Eads starts it toward the baseline, comes back toward the lane, looking underneath all the time, can't get anybody open. He gives it to DeWitt way outside. He gives it to St. Clair. Jeff will start the offense all over again. They go to Stephon on the high post. Stephon looks at the bucket, gives it to Eads, top of the key. As Mike works it toward the lane, gives it back outside to St. Clair, goes across the lane, has the pass knocked loose, picked up by Parkersburg. Outlet pass to Cutler, drives, puts it up, no good. Rebound to St. Clair of the Tigers. As Jeff takes it to the front court with a left-hand dribble, and we've got him called for turning the ball. As Cutler reached in and may have deflected it. 2:50 to play in the first quarter. Princeton 17, Parkersburg 4. As Richard Moore will bring it to the front court for the Big Red. Starts it to the right side. Looking underneath, can't get it. I get to Woods now. Woods goes to the baseline, fires, and Adams had a block on the shot. And Stephon was up there also. Now, who got the foul? I think Adams did. I'm not sure. It is Adams. Jeff Adams, that's his first foul. Team foul number 5 on the Tigers.
Foul called on Jeff Adams. His first. Who's doing it?
And that will put Joe Woods on the free throw line for Parkersburg. As Woods fires, it is no good off the side iron. As Woods ready to fire again. He fires, it is off the back iron, no good. Rebound to DeWitt, has it stolen by Eddie. Gives it to Woods, drives, fakes, fires, good. Joe Woods gets the bucket for Parkersburg. They went a long time without a bucket. 17-6 now. The Tigers lead by 11. As St. Clair with it to the front court. Has the ball deflected out of bounds by Cutler. And it'll be Tiger ball front court on the side. As the outlet pass comes to St. Clair. Gives it back to Eads. Eads on the wing. On the right side, brings it toward the lane on the left-hand dribble, and it's deflected loose, reaching in, and they've got a jump ball now. As one of the officials called it out to Parkersburg, the other called it out to Princeton. So now we'll jump Jeff Rohr and Earl Eads.
I believe what happened when neither official saw who knocked it out.
Well, why didn't they ask me?
Well, we would have been glad to tell.
All in it. Yeah, I told. The tip controlled by the Big Red as Moore brings it to the front court. To the left side with it. To Eddie in the corner. Gives it back to Moore. They come to Woods on the near side. Goes to the lane. Fires. Off the iron, no good. Rebound to Stephon. His train brings it down. Puts it on the floor one time. Gives it to DeWitt. And James takes it to the front court. Leads it off to Eads on the baseline. Turl fires off the baseline. Good. As Eads working the low post pivot. Puts the Tigers up 19-6. As the up-court pass deflected by Adams, picked up by DeWitt. DeWitt firing from 18 feet, good. As James DeWitt puts the Tigers up 21-6. As Moore was behind the back dribble, gets it to the front court, and now DeWitt picks it up and heads him off. Noor gives it to the right side to Cutler. Cutler starts it toward the baseline. Goes underneath to Woods on the low post. We got a traveling call. As Stephon sitting right behind him, daring him to go up in the air with it. And Woods just traveled.
You know, Glenn Woods looks to me like a fullback.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? St. Clair will bring it to the front court for Princeton. to DeWitt on the left side wing. Goes to the lane. He'll fire from 18 feet off the iron. No good. Rebound to St. Clair in heavy traffic. Leaves it over for DeWitt. He puts it up and in on an assist from St. Clair. 23-6 as the Tigers working on all cylinders right now. As Richard Moore with the ball for Parkersburg to the front court. Starts it to the left side. They go to Joe Woods. He runs over St. Clair, and we got a traveling call. Well, if they hadn't been traveling, we'd had a foul one way or the other. I don't know which way it went. Because I don't know if he had enough room to turn or not. So St. Clair now will bring it to the front court for Princeton with 56 seconds on the first quarter clock. To the left side to DeWitt. He's on the wing, looking underneath now. Starts it toward the lane. To Eads, moves into the lane. Gives it back to Adams. We got a whistle on a foul, offensive foul on Eads. And Eads has got that's foul number 1 on Mike. But Eads has got a strap around his right thigh, like he may have a little bit of a muscle pull there.
Foul was called on Mike.
So Moore will bring it to the front court for Parkersburg. On the move with it to the right side. To Woods, deep in the corner, looking underneath. Takes a shot, doesn't take it, gives it back to Moore. Goes to the lane, fires from the free throw line. Good. Richard Moore hits it for Parkersburg. 23-8. Tigers on top with 30 seconds to play in the first quarter. Jeff St. Clair on the left-hand dribble, behind the back with it to the front court for the Tigers. Driving on Moore, going around. We got a whistle and a foul. As Greg Cutlip called for the foul. As St. Clair has number 1 on Cutlip, but St. Clair was trying to run him into a pick. It's been set up by Adams, and Cutlip decided to cut closer to St. Clair and was called for the foul. So that'll put Jeff on the free throw line, and he'll shoot 1. As St. Clair fires, it is good. We'll have a second. As Jeff fires, it is good. And we'll celebrate right now that Jim will be all right. We'll give you a report right now in a minute. As Eddie takes the up-court pass for Parkersburg, lays it up and in good for Parkersburg. 25-10, the Tigers up. And we'll give you detailed information in just a few moments. As Jeff St. Clair to the front court with it for Princeton. To Eads on the wing left side. Goes to the lane. Jumps, fires from 17 feet. It's in and out, no good. Rebound to Adams in traffic. Puts it up. He is fouled from behind. And he was fouled by Brian Eddy. And that will put Jeff Adams on the free throw line for the Princeton Tigers. He'll shoot 2 shots. As Adams fires, so good. He got the back flange and skipped out on him. So Jeff Adams on the line. He'll fire 1 more. Puts it up with the right hand, and it is good. Jeff Adams hits the free throw. 26-10. Tigers up by 16 now. As Moore to the front court with it for Parkersburg. Firing off the iron at the buzzer. So at the end of the first quarter of play, the Princeton Tigers 26. The Parkersburg Big Red 10. And we'll be back. First, let's pause for this. Okay, 26-10. Now, let's pass this information on about Jim right now. I think everybody's very concerned about that. Jim is in the dressing room, and he's got a cut. Or Jim's back on the bench right now. They got a butterfly bandage holding it together. He's got a cut in the eyebrow of above the right eye, right out the far end of the eyebrow, and it starts down below the eye, goes up across the eyebrow, and it looks like it's going to need 3 to 4 stitches, which I think they're going to put in at halftime, and Jim is back out right now, and he is going to play tonight. And Jim is in the team huddle right now. He's standing up. I don't think he's going to start the second quarter, but he's out there. I'm sure waiting to make sure his vision is going to be all right. He is going out to play. So Miller is going back. Ain't bad.
And Parkersburg is 4-17 for 25%.
Okay, we're ready. It's Eddie and Miller. Tip control by Miller to Stephon. Has a knock loose by Rohr. Goes and throws it out of bounds as Ben Wilson it is into the ball game now for Parkersburg.
We had the officials disagree, and we should have a jump ball.
We're going to jump it. As Miller tells them, let's jump it. The officials are going to go over and talk about it. Now, do we get a vote on this stuff?
Now, Claude Miller just overruled last call to pieces there.
They gave it to Princeton. What are you griping about?
Let's just overrule Miller.
So what are you griping about?
I'm not. I'm happy.
Okay, as the inbound pass comes into the width, they get it to Miller. Miller into the front court with it, working on Eddie. Goes down, pulls up, fires. Good. As Miller hits it, 28-10, Tigers up.
Jimmy's 10th point in the ball game, by the way.
As Moore brings it to the front court for Parkersburg. Leaves it for Cutlip. Cutlip moves it over to Wilson. Wilson with the ball, side of the key. Into Moore, working toward the corner, trying to get it to Eddie on the low post, and his kick loose by DeWitt, and DeWitt called for kicking the ball. So it will be out to the Big Red. As Richard Moore will inbound it. As he gets it in to Wilson. Wilson gives it back to Moore. Moore in the corner gives it to Wilson up top of the key. Trying to bring it all the way across court to Jeff Eddie. Jeff's way out on the wing here now. And they've got Mike Aikens into the ball game at the low post for Parkersburg right now as he really went to his bench. As the pass deflected out of bounds by the Tigers, it'll be Parkersburg's ball. As Eddie will inbound it, he brings it inbound to Cutlip. Cutlip gives it back to Eddie, works to the baseline. They cut him off. He gives it to Moore inside. It's knocked loose, picked up by the Tigers. As they've got Eads on the break, but he overruns the ball. The ball was so fast him, he had to run it down. Now they double team him. He gets it out to Stephon. Stephon across the key, gives it to St. Clair. St. Clair slipped as he started to drive. Now backs it out of trouble, gives it to DeWitt. As James holds it overhead on the wing. Now firing from deep in the corner off the iron, no good. Rebound to Miller. Fakes, goes across the lane, hooks it up and in. As Jim with that big right hand hooking skyward, puts the ball into the net.
That may have been one of the prettiest plays I've seen this year.
30-10, the Tigers up. As Moore to the front court with it for Parkersburg. This is underneath to Wilson. As Wilson way out front with it now, not underneath. Looking underneath. Can't get anybody open. Now they get Eddie on the high post. Backs in on Miller. Fires, no good. Rebound tipped around, and Miller controls. Gets it out to St. Clair. St. Clair into the front court with it. Pulls up, fires from 16 off the iron. No good. Tipped up once. No good. Tipped up again. No good. Miller takes it away. Puts it up again. No good. We got a whistle and a foul. Did somebody foul Miller? Miller foul somebody. The foul was on 23. That's Ben Wilson of Parkersburg. And that put Miller on the line as they grabbed him by the arm. Going up with it. That's number 1 on Wilson. And that put Miller on the line. He'll shoot 2 or 1 on Wall. They're going to put Stephon on the line. Now, Stephon was caught between Wilson and Miller, and that's not a good place to be.
But you know, there were
4
Princeton hands well over that goal trying to step that thing back through, and it bounced out on him, and the foul was committed after it came back out the second time.
Stephon fires the free throw good. He'll have another one. Well, let's go to those free throws. It always seems like it's a surprise to him. This sure one to me, too, because I can never predict when it's going to let go. Can you? Watch him now.
Up there, doesn't it?
Oops, there it is. It's on the way. I saw the iron. No good. Rebound. Slipped around and picked up by Parkersburg finally. Cutlip controls. Gets it to Eddie. Jeff into the front court. And we've got double dribble. Whistle, I think it's foul on Jim Miller, isn't it?
It should be travel.
It is a foul on Jim Miller, and that's number 3 on Jim. As Jim run into him as he came up alongside of him. And we'll get Jeff Adams back into the ball game, and Miller will come out.
Well, Eddie trapped the ball on his thigh and just kept going with it. Finally dribbled it.
And Jim coming up behind him run into it. So Jim comes over and sits down, take a rest. As Eddie fires the free throw, it's no good. Rebound pulled down by Stephon. Boy, they double teamed him, and he still brought it out. Got it out to St. Clair. St. Clair brings it to the front court, down the right side, backs it out of trouble, starts it to the lane, goes around, Eddie cuts him off, he goes to the baseline with it, gets it to Eads, Eads in the corner, comes across the lane, drives down the lane, fires, it's no good, we got a whistle. Somebody fouled. And boy, there was enough of them there to foul as they were in heavy traffic. And the foul will be called on Ben Wilson. Ben's a hatchet man, that's what he's in there for, it's number 2 for him.
Well, Mike's doing a good job tonight of driving and drawing the foul. He's penetrating very well tonight. He penetrated excellently in that Bluefield game, too, by the way.
As Eads on the line now for the Tigers. And he'll fire the 2 shots. The first one's on the way good. He'll have a second one. 32-10. Tigers leading by 22. With 5:55 up to play in the first half. As Eads on the line. He'll shoot 1 more. It's on the way and off the front iron. No good. Rebound pulled down by the Big Red. As they get it out to Jeff Eddie. Jeff into the front court as St. Clair heads him off. And the ball knocked loose. Picked up by Adams. The Tigers gets it out to Eads. Eads in traffic. Pulls his way through into the front court. Waits for it to clear now. As the Tigers set the offense, they go Adams on the high post. As Adams pulls it high overhead, gives it to St. Clair, comes around, fires. Oh, good. It's Jeff St. Clair from 16 feet. 5:30 to play in the first half. Tigers up 34-10. As Greg Cutlip with the ball for Parkersburg. Comes to the near side with it to Eakins. Goes under, fires. It's on the iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Adams. Out to Eads, to St. Clair. The Tigers running in. St. Clair goes down, lays it up and in. And the Tigers blazing. 36-10.
Parkersburg has not scored in the first 3 minutes of the second quarter.
As Cutlip with the ball into the front court for Parkersburg. To Eakins. Eakins on the wing, gives it back outside to Cutlip, firing good from 18 points. And Graham had to start that, didn't he? 36-12 now as Parkersburg intercepts the up-court pass but travels with the ball, so it'll be Tiger ball on their own bucket. As DeWitt will inbound it. And the Tigers set him up, parallel the lane, left side. As DeWitt gets it to Eads, fakes a shot, goes around his man, comes to the lane, fires, good. Mike Eads from about 12 feet. 38-12. As Moore brings the ball to the front court for Parkersburg, gives it to Cutlip. Cutlip to the point position, into the corner to Moore. Moore gives it back outside to Cutlip now as they double team him, and Cutlip comes to the near side with it to Wilson. Wilson goes to Moore across court. Moore fires, no good. Ball tipped around, picked up off the baseline by Parkersburg. Gets it back outside to Cutlip, fires, throws up a brick, missed everything and threw it out of bounds. And I think that DeWitt may have distracted him coming over the top because he just flung it out of bounds. 38-12. The Tigers enjoying a big lead right now as St. Clair works it to the front court for Princeton. Comes to the lane, they double team. He goes step on underneath. Stephon puts it up, no good. Adams tipped, no good. Tipped up again, no good. Ball comes to the floor, picked up by Eads. Takes it around Travis, goes to the baseline, fires from the baseline. Good. As Mike Eads from 14 feet on a fall away, fade away, something away, puts it in the net. 40-12. As Cutlip into the front court with it for Parkersburg, gets it over to Wilson. Gives it back to Cutlip, directing traffic underneath, and Stephon intercepts the pass, gets it out to St. Clair's. Jeff leads Eads with it, and Eads flips it back inbounds, and we got a foul as they flipped it in to Ben Wilson, and DeWitt set up behind him, and Wilson charged him, so that's number 3 on Wilson. And that'll put DeWitt. All right, and so we get Will coming in for the Tigers, and St. Clair will get a chance to catch his breath.
Also got Brian Eddy into the ball game for Parkersburg.
And that's right, Brian Eddy comes back in, and Wilson comes out with fouls. As the Tigers have it out of bounds on the offensive foul. His in-court pass comes into Guil. He gives it to DeWitt deep in the corner. James looks at the bucket, gives it back outside to Scooter. Gives it back to James, and James standing over the far side, gives it to Scooter. They come to Stephon on the near side. Now he goes back to Eads. Eads fakes a shot. Makes his man move, goes in, puts it up, no good. Stephon tip, no good. Rebound, slips around out of bounds, and Tiger ball. As DeWitt will inbound it for the Tigers. Gets it into Eads. He's firing from the corner. It's good. Mike Eads from about 18 feet. 42-12 now. The Tigers out by 30 points here in the first half with 3:15 to play. And Parkersburg wants a timeout. And they need it, boy. The Tigers working on them. 3:14 left to play in the first half with the score. Princeton 42, Parkersburg 12. We'll be back right after this. 15 left to play in the first half, and it is the Tigers 42, Parkersburg 12, and we've got a horse race. No, we haven't got much of a horse race.
Well, we do have a...
Got a horse race.
We have one horse race about what it is. Charlie's got some individual statistics. Halftime, Jimmy Miller has 12 points. James DeWitt has 10. Mike Eads has 9. And Strain has 3 for Princeton so far. St. Clair has 6 points. Charlie?
Yeah, Princeton, this quarter, they've made 7 out of 17 for 41%. They pulled down 9 rebounds. They're really crashing the boards good tonight. I'm really impressed with the
Crashing
weather.
is the word, buddy.
Well, hey, I'm not going to crash anything with Jeff Eddy out there.
There's a lot of crashing going on out there. Parkersburg will have the ball out of bounds as Brian Eddy inbounds it to Moore. He gives it back to Eddy, and Brian starts the offense for the Big Red. He gives it to Jeff Eddy in the corner, dropping underneath to Woods. Fakes, fires, and Adams got him from behind, I believe. Jeff Adams called for the foul. And that's 2 on Jeff. How many centers we got left on the bench down there? Jim's got 3, and Jeff's got 2 now.
We've got Harris, Rusty Harris.
Is he dressed?
He's dressed.
He's dressed.
Okay. We need the fouls.
Pretty soon we're going to put Charlie Wright in the uniform, aren't we?
Oh, nobody can stand that.
Hey, good. Yes, sir.
As Woods fires the free throws, it's good. He'll get a second one. You heard what Bob Grant said about when they play a horse out of Charlie Wright's house. He comes in 4th.
Hey, don't repeat that.
Woods fires again. It's good. 42-14 now. The Tigers with the big lead. As St. Clair brings it to the front court, they double team him on a press, and St. Clair just bounces off Jeff Eddy's knee out of bounds, so the Tigers have it out of bounds at midcourt.
You know, Glenn, for a man 6'4" and about 205 pounds, Jeff Eddy hustles out there.
Oh, he's an athlete now. Now, he'll play college ball somewhere. You'll hear of him. As St. Clair has the ball in the front court, and they're going to spread it out and make Parkersburg come out and play man-to-man. They don't want any of this zone stuff. As the Wet goes into the traffic, throws the ball out, and it's thrown out of bounds. As Eads and St. Clair crash out of bounds going after it, and it'll be out to Parkersburg. As Brian Eddy now will bring it to the front court for Parkersburg. Starts it to the left side to Jeff Eddy deep in the corner. Looks underneath, gives it back outside. Brian Eddy firing from way outside. Off the iron, no good. Stefan rebounding in traffic. Gives it outside to St. Clair. Jeff into the front court with it. On the move. Fires from the free throw line. Good. Boy, that was picture pretty. Tigers go out 44-14. As Brian Eddy brings it to the front court for Parkersburg. Takes the pass underneath. Tigers playing a 1-2-2 zone right now. As Woods with the ball in the corner, gives it back outside to Eddy. 2 more on the near side. Now to Eddy in the corner, firing out the corner, no good. Rebound pulled down by Adams. Gets it out to St. Clair. The Tigers got a 3-on-2. And St. Clair firing from the line, good. As St. Clair from 16 feet just pounds the ball in. 46-14, Tigers up. A minute 55 to play in the first half. As Brian Eddy into the front court with it for Parkersburg. To Jeff Eddy in the corner. Goes down the baseline. Fires. Good. He put it on the glass and got the bucket. 46-16. As St. Clair gets into the front court to Eads. Drives to the baseline. Fires. It goes in. Good. And the foul called on Eads on the charge. But the bucket will be good. Yes. The bucket is good. And on Mike, that is foul number 2, isn't it? And team fouls we quit counting a long time ago.
You know, Jeff St. Clair has 4 field goals in the second quarter, and Mike Eads also has 4 field goals. And they've contributed very well with the absence of Jimmy Miller.
So the minute 39 left to play in the first half. It is Princeton 48, Parkersburg 16.
Scooter Will back into the ball game.
As Will comes, yeah, that's right. Will comes in and Eads will get a chance to get a breather. As we'll have Joe Woods on the free throw line. He fires. It's good. He'll have a second attempt. Woods firing on the free throw for Parkersburg. Hits the first one. A minute 39 left to play in the first half. 48-17. Tigers on top as Woods fires again. It's good. 48-18. As the inbounds pass comes from with to St. Clair. Parkersburg with a zone trap now. 1-1-2-1. As the Tigers still in the backcourt with the ball now. St. Clair moves it to the front court. Gets around Jeff Eddy, who set up a body block on him. And he gets it away from Brian Eddy. Still moving as Jeff with the ball. Gets it to Quill in the corner. Scooter will fire from 18 feet. It's off the flange. No good. Joe Woods has the ball taken away by James DeWitt. And DeWitt fires. And it is no good. He put it around and around and around the rim. And we got a foul on the rebound. Call on Stefan. And on Stefan, that's number 2. As DeWitt put it around the rim several times, and it went down into the bucket, came back up out of the bucket. And that will put, is that Brian Eddy? No, that is Mike Eakins on the free throw line for the Tigers. Or tell you, for the Big Red, Mike Eakins hits the first one. That's good. 48-19, Tigers on top right now as we're passing car keys and coats around here for some reason or other. Eakins fires again, no good. Stefan pulls the rebound. Is Strain with the ball in the backcourt against the press. Stefan puts it on the floor one time, gives it to Adams, gives it to St. Clair, and Jeff into the front court with it. Jeff goes down the lane, gives it out to Quill, fires, good, Stewart from 16 feet. 50-19. As Moore to the front court with it for Parkersburg. Gets it to Brian Eddy. Eddy to the right side, looking underneath. Goes all the way to the corner, far side to Jeff Eddy. Drops it underneath to Joe Woods, puts it up and in. Joe Woods hits it for Parkersburg. 50-21, the Tigers up as the Big Red press. And St. Clair with the ball for the Tigers in the back court. They get it to Adams in the front court. They got DeWitt open. Goes down the baseline, lays it up with a finger roll. Good. James DeWitt as Parkersburg come back to the full court press. And Guill and Brian Eddy really collide, and the foul is called on Guill. It was on.
Well, how would you call that, Glenn? Scooter had the ball coming down.
No, he didn't. He just tipped the ball one time, and the other guy had the right to go to the ball, offensive pass.
I thought Scooter had the ball.
No, he didn't.
The foul was called on Scooter.
Maybe I'll get the pass interference.
So we'll have Eddy on the line to shoot. He fires the 1-on-1. It's no good. Rebound pulled out by DeWitt, who really skied to bring it down. Gets it to St. Clair. Jeff in the backcourt with it. Moves it to the front court to Stephon. Gives it out to DeWitt, and the Tigers are going to spread out a little bit right now. And now they go to Adams, blow loose on the baseline. Firing, no good. Rebound tipped up by Stephon, no good. We got a whistle and a foul on Stephon. And boy, the Tigers picking up fouls here now. That's number 3 on Stephon.
Foul situation for Princeton. You have Miller with 3, Strain with 3, Eads with 2, Adams with 2, and you have 3 of your big men, Adams, Miller, and Strain with a certain amount of foul problems in this first half.
And we get Joseph Harrison in the ball game for the Tigers right now.
Number 20, Joe Harrison.
52-21, the Tigers on top. And we'll have on the free throw line Mike Eakins. It was Mike Eakins rather than Brian Eddy. Those kids look alike, and one of them's number 21, the other's 31. As Eakins fires the free throw, it's no good. Rebound pulled down by Joe Woods in traffic. Puts it up, no good. Rebound tip one time, no good. Now Adams rips it out of there. Gets it out to Harrison. The ball knocked loose on the floor. We got a whistle. I think they're going to get Eakins for a roadblock, aren't they?
I think so. You know, you can tell from this game that Parkersburg is a football school. Eakins is another one that looks like a fine football player. Has that weightlifting build.
What do they call it in roller derby when somebody jumps off the track and hits somebody illegally? That's what that play was, wasn't it?
How about that? I'm not sure. I don't know.
We'll have to ask right. That's a higher class sport than you're used to, Graham.
I'm staying out of that one. I don't know.
Jeff Adams on the free throw line with a 1-on-1 for Princeton. He fires. That's good. He'll have a second one. 53-21 now. As Jeff will have another attempt. We got 6 seconds left to play in the first half. As Adams fires, it's off the iron, no good. Rebound to Eads. He muscled it away and put it up and in. Mike Eads with a muscle rebound. As the buzzer sounds, ending the first half, the score at the end of the first half, Princeton 55, Parkersburg 21, and we'll be back. First missed balls for this. The Tigers enjoying a halftime lead of 55-21 over the Parkersburg Big Red. As Princeton had 26 points in the first quarter, 29 in the second quarter for a total of 55, while Parkersburg had 10 in the first quarter, 11 in the second quarter for a total of 21. Halftime score 55-21. The Tigers enjoying 34-point advantage. Okay, Charlie, what you got on some team stats there, brother?
Okay, Glenn, for Princeton here in the first half, they made 24 out of 45 shots from the field for 50%. They pulled down 29 rebounds, and they committed 9 turnovers. Jack, you have Parkersburg there?
We'll give you both headsets. Okay, Jack, what you got?
Parkersburg was 7 of 28 from the field for 25%. They had 14 rebounds and 14 turnovers. Not a very good first half for the Big Red.
Tigers on top up all the way pretty much.
Yeah, they got on them, didn't let up, didn't they?
They jumped on like ugly on a skunk.
Huh?
Okay, Bob, what do you got?
Okay, for Princeton, as Jack said, but they had the free throws to that. Princeton had 24 field goals, 7 of 11 from the foul line. Individual scoring, Mike Eads had 6 field goals, 1 of 2 at the foul line, 13 points. Jeff St. Clair, who had an explosive second quarter, 4 field goals, 2 of 2 at the foul line, 10 points. James DeWitt, who had 5 field goals in the first quarter, had 1 more in the second, 6 field goals, 12 points. Jimmy Miller had 6 field goals for 12 points. He did not play probably half of the first half. Stephon Strain had 1 field goal, 1 of 2 at the foul line, 3 points. Jeff Adams, who came in for Jimmy, was 2 of 4 from the foul line for 2 points. Scooter Boyle came in as a substitute role and had 1 field goal for 2 points. For Parkersburg's Big Reds, had 7 field goals, 7 of 14 from the foul line. Richard Moore had 1 field goal, and last year Richard Moore really hurt Princeton up at Parkersburg in a very tight game. Greg Cutlet had 2 field goals for 4 points. Brian Eddy had 1 field goal for 2 points. Joe Woods had 2 field goals. He was 4 of 6 at the foul line, 8 points. Jeff Eddy had 1 field goal. He was 2 of 5 at the foul line, 4 points. He also has 3 fouls. Ben Wilson came into the ball game, did not score, and Mike Eakins came in, was 1 of 3 at the foul line, and 1 point.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, the halftime score, Princeton 55, Parkersburg 21. We'll be back, and Craigle has special guests right after this.
Alrighty, back at the Princeton High School Gymnasium, I'm Craig Mann. I got a special halftime guest we're talking to. Assistant basketball coach from Virginia Tech, of course, the Gobblers down south. We got Mr. Don Brown alongside. And Coach Brown, first of all, we want to welcome you aboard.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're getting pretty used to seeing you guys up here around here in Princeton, and of course we feel as though we have some talent that's well worth looking at.
Well, yes, you do. You know, you've got a fine high school basketball team, one of the better high school teams that I have seen, in my years of college coaching. Got well balanced, people can handle the ball, you got people who can score, and of course you got a lot of size, especially one very talented player in Jimmy Miller.
And of course, Jimmy didn't get to play much the first half, maybe 5 minutes total because of the eye injury he sustained. But the Tigers seemed to overcome the troubles without Jimmy and gelled well as a team, didn't you think?
Yes, they played very well. I've seen Princeton a number of times over the years, and this year I think this is my 3rd time seeing them. And they've really got a good club, and they play with a lot of intensity, and I think that's what happened tonight. Parkersburg, what I understand, looks to really push the ball up and down the floor and trying to get the fast break. And they went inside, I believe, Eddie or whatever his name is, and he was playing very aggressive inside and got a couple quick fouls on Jimmy that seemed Princeton's team that just played very intense and just made things happen, hit the open jumper, and got the fast break going. Really played very well.
Of course, you're a representative of Virginia Tech, and we here in Princeton, when we start thinking about major college competition, the first thought that comes to our mind is Virginia Tech, because with the road situation and everything, you're the closest one to us, and we enjoy watching Virginia Tech sports. And you're doing quite a good job this year, very competitive in the Metro 7, aren't you?
Well, we're right now we're struggling a little bit. We're 7-7, and we're on the road tomorrow night, Monday night in the Metro Conference at Memphis State and St. Louis. But we're hope to get it going. We're an inexperienced club. We've had good clubs in the past, and this year we're struggling a little bit, mainly because we got some inexperience. Our forwards just aren't shooting the ball very well at all, and as a team, we're not shooting the ball very well, except for Dale Solomon, who's a great player. But I think...
Of course, the slam dunk's a pretty high percentage shot.
Yes, right now, the way they're surrounding him, he's not getting many of those.
But I was able to see you fellas play up in Charleston a few weeks back when you took on the Mountaineers. And we went up and saw you guys kind of take it to our Mounties. So I was very much impressed with Mr. Solomon. And I was also impressed with a guard of yours by the name of Jeff Snyder.
Yes, well, I tell you, early in the year we were playing pretty well and doing some things right. And, I think Jeff played well that night. And I think playing against West Virginia, home state and everything, myself, I'm from West Virginia, and I know you get a little more up for the game, and he was really up for that. We played very well. Because West Virginia seemed, from that point on, has really played well right now. Being, 10-3 or 11-3, they seem to have it going, and with a tough loss to
Ohio
State.
Right.
You know, they seem to have a goal. It's a great win, I thought, the other night for them. And Coach Catlett does a great job, and I'm sure, you know, he's going to really turn the thing around here.
Of course, we were given the privilege of seeing you fellas play Florida State a few nights back, and they had you down at one time, and your fellas seemed to keep the poise and came back and did the job there in the overtime.
Yeah, we've been playing spotty. We play well one game, and maybe the next game we don't play that well. Like we lost a triple overtime the other night to William and Marion. We missed 3 1-on-1s and missed 2 easy stick backs and things you have to do. We just aren't doing right now. William and Marion held the ball on us. The final score was 46-44 in a triple overtime. You can see there's not a whole lot of action pushing up and down the floor, and we like to run. But right now we just, we missed the foul shot here that needs to win the ball game. We were up every overtime. We were up 2 points and had 1-on-1s to go up 4. Never hit them. They come down and score, tie the game. Then they hit a shot right at the buzzer in the third overtime to win it. So it was a tough loss for us. Hopefully we can get it going here soon because we've got the Metro tournament coming up, at the end of February. So a lot of Metro conference games, so we got to get it going here soon.
Alrighty, I'm Craig May, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more with Coach Don Brown, representing the Virginia Tech Gobblers, in just one moment, so don't go away. Back in the Princeton High School Gymnasium, I'm Craig May, and I've got Coach Don Brown from the Virginia Tech Gobblers alongside. And Coach Brown, a lot of people, they say, well, Virginia Tech plays in the Metro 7, and they don't really realize the potential and the talent that the Metro 7 possesses, do they?
Well, the Metro 7 over the past years has had some very talented basketball teams. Louisville won it last year, and Cincinnati has won 2 championships, and Memphis State's been a runner-up, I believe. So it's a very competitive conference, just like all conferences, I believe.
Coach Brown, we want to wish you and your Gobblers the best of luck throughout the season, and thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be back right after this.
In Virginia Tech, he layup.
Okay, we're ready for second half of play now as the Tigers are on the floor. We got Jimmy Miller, Jeff Adams starting the second half with Mike Eads and James DeWitt and Jeff St. Clair. Parkersburg comes back out with Jeff Eddy, Richard Moore, and it's Ben Wilson and Brian Eddy and Greg Cutlip. And the tip control by the Tigers as Adams picks it up in the backcourt. Gets it over to Eads. Eads to the front court with it to St. Clair. And Jeff will start the offense now. Jeff gets it to Eads. Eads on the right side wing. Starts it to the baseline, goes under, lays it up and in. Good. Mike Eads puts it up and in. As the Tigers will play some man-to-man defense now as Brian Eddy brings it to the front court. Goes underneath with it, has it knocked loose, goes to the floor, picked up by Moore. Still loose, now picked up by Eddy. Eddy goes into the lane, fires. Good. Jeff Eddy hits it for the Big Red. 57-23 now. Parkersburg will press as Eads goes up court with it to Adams. Picks it off the floor, gives it to DeWitt, fires. He is fouled.
Foul's on Richard Ralph Moore, and it's his second foul in the ball game.
Okay. And 7:21 left to play in the third quarter. We got a 57-23 ball game. Tigers on top. James DeWitt on the free throw line for the Tigers right now. He'll be firing. A 1-and-1. But somebody tell Jack to sit down and be still over there. As DeWitt fires, good. 58-22. The Tigers up now by 25. As Richard Moore into the front court with it. Gets it over to Brian Eddy. Eddy starts it to the key, gives it outside to Moore. They go to the baseline with it. As Moore comes back across to Eddy. Eddy drops it underneath to Wilson. Goes under, fires as Miller blocks the shot. Takes it off the board. Miller flings it out and into the stands. And it was deflected. Those will be Tiger ball. As somebody caught that up here in the cheap seats. As DeWitt inbounds it for the Tigers. He gives it into Jeff St. Clair. And Jeff takes it to the top of the key. They go to Miller on the high post. Looking underneath with the ball. Holding it. Now he works on Eddy. Drives, goes under, puts it up, and no good. We got a traveling call as his foot slipped as he started to pivot. Now, is that dirty shoes or cheap shoes? Or dirty floor?
It could be a dirty floor.
Yes. I don't know what it was. Might be a little dance ball on the floor. Somebody might have sweat on it or something. 58-23. Tigers on top as Brian Eddy brings it to the front court for the Tigers, or for the Big Red. As Eddy looking underneath, brings it to the left side to Ben Wilson, trying to get underneath with the Jeff. Eddy has it knocked loose and out of bounds for the Tigers. Jimmy Miller. So it'll be out of bounds to Parkersburg.
Just had one of the Parkersburg starters, Wood, go to the dressing room limping. It looked like he had maybe a sprained ankle.
As Moore will inbound it. He gets it into Eddy. To Cutler. To Moore. Firing out of the corner. It's off the iron. No good. Rebound slapped around. Controlled now by Adams of Princeton. Out to St. Clair. Jeff into the front court. Goes to the baseline. Fires. It is off the glass line. No good, but he was fouled. And that foul called on Cutler. Greg Cutler fouled him. That's number 2 on Cutler. That's team foul number 2 on the Big Red in the second half. That's Sammy Barker right down here in front of us. Eating popcorn like it's going out of style. Jeff St. Clair hits that first free throw. Boy, I never see anybody eat that much popcorn one time. Watch him. Yeah, he turns around and looks guilty at us. Yeah. Jeff St. Clair ready for that second shot. He fires. It's good. 60-23. Tigers on top. As Richard Moore with the ball for Parkersburg in the backcourt. Gets to the front court to Greg Cudlip. Cudlip holds it up on the wing. Comes across court with it to Brian Eddy. Here you go deep in the corner with it to Moore. Back outside to Brian Eddy. As the Tigers playing a 1-3-1 zone right now. And now Cudlip firing from outside. No good as Miller. Rebounds for the Tigers. Miller puts it on the floor. Into the front court to Eads. Eads driving. Puts it on the glass. Good. And we got a foul.
Could be a charge against Mike Eads.
And it is against Eads, but the bucket will be good. That's number 3 on Mike. And the bucket was good, and that is foul on Mike. That's not number 1 on Mike.
Team foul number 1.
Okay, hand me on Mike. 3, okay. Number 3 on Mike. On Earl. 62-23 now. As Brian Eddy chases the ball down in the front court for Parkersburg. Gives it back outside to Cutler. Cutler gives it to Moore on the wing. Back to Eddy. They come to the near side to Ben Wilson. Wilson looking underneath. Gives it back outside to Eddy. As they can't get the big man open underneath, they go back to Cutler, firing from the top of the key, no good. Rebound to DeWitt as he took it over top of Wilson. Flipped it out to St. Clair. Jeff into the front court with it to Eads in the corner. Flips it back to Miller. Miller goes to the lane, fires off the glass, no good. Rebound pulled down by Moore. As Moore in traffic, dribbling with it, gets it to the front court. Leaves it for Eddy. Eddy gets it to Wilson. Firing from the left side off the iron, no good, and rebound to Miller of the Tigers. Leads it out to Eads. Eads into the front court, pulls up, fires off the glass, no good, comes off the iron, rebound, pulled down by Moore of Parkersburg. As DeWitt heads him off, and St. Clair knocks the ball loose. We got a whistle and a foul on Jeff St. Clair. And on Jeff, that's number 1. Team foul number 2. 62-23 is the score. What's that, 39-point lead?
Yes, it is.
I can only count that out. 5:07 left to play in the third quarter. As the inbounds pass for Parker. Thank you, Craig. Couldn't find it. As the Big Red throw it out of bounds, trying to get it on the baseline to Jeff Eddy. So now Parkersburg will press. As Eads with the ball in the backcourt for the Tigers. Comes around one man, picks the ball up, gets it to St. Clair on the far side. They go to Miller in the front court, and Jim holds it high over top of everybody else. And gives it back to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff feeds it underneath to Eads, fires it. Check it. Jeff Adams fires it up and in on a fine assist from St. Clair. Jeff Adams, 64-23. The Tigers enjoying a big lead now. As Brian Eddy with the ball gets it to Cutler. In the corner with it to Moore. They go to Jeff Eddy on the baseline. Puts it up and in as Eddy got loose on the baseline and got the bucket. 64-29 as Eads moves it back to the front court for the Tigers. Looks at the bucket. Now he drops it to Miller on the baseline. Jimmy turns, fires, got the edge of the glass. Fits up and in by DeWitt. DeWitt caught the ball to come off the side of the glass and flipped it up and it went in the bucket.
How about 41-point lead?
Okay. 66-25. Tigers on top. As Parkersburg with a wild pass to Eddy. Now he gets it to Wilson. Firing out of the corner, no good. Adams rebounds. Gets it out to St. Clair. St. Clair into the front court. Works to the lane. Behind the back pass to DeWitt. We got a whistle and a foul on Jeff St. Clair. That's number 2 on Jeff. Team foul number 3 on the Tigers. It's pretty, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. You might want to explain that pass, because I wouldn't try. It was behind the back of the
Jeff
360.
St. Clair came to the top of the key, into the top of the key, did a 360, and as he was turning, flipped the ball behind him to DeWitt, cutting across the baseline, and DeWitt put the ball up toward the basket. By that time, they called the foul on St. Clair because this other guy fell down.
I wanted to call the behind-the-back pass, but it wasn't, because he was doing a 360 at the time.
Okay, up court pass was deflected, so it'll be Parkersburg ball out of bounds. And now we'll have Brian Eddy to inbound it for Parkersburg. 66-25, Tigers up as Brian Eddy will inbound it for the Big Red. As he gets it into Greg Cutlip. Cutlip gives it to Moore. Richard Moore brings it back to the near side to Eddy. Now they go to Jeff Eddy in the lane. Drives in the lane. Fires. Good. As Miller had a hand way over top of the rim that time to flip it away, and he missed the ball. 66-27 as St. Clair gets it to Miller. Jim into the front court. Dropped it to Adams. Adams firing off the baseline. Good. Miller playing a middleman on the fast break. 68-27. Tigers on top. As Moore with the ball in the front court for Parkersburg. Gives it to Cutlip. Cutlip gives it to Brian Eddy. They go to Jeff Eddy. Works on Adams. Has a knock loose. Goes to the floor. St. Clair out wrestled him for it. And boy, St. Clair just absolutely rooted it away from him. They get it up court to Miller. Miller goes to the baseline. Works his way in. Goes under. Lays it up good. And we got a whistle off foul.
Could be a charge against Jimmy.
It is a charge against Jimmy, but the bucket is good. That's number 4 on Jim.
The foul after the shot on Miller.
Stephon started to go into the ball game but left his warm-up jacket on.
So Stephon comes in. Stephon Strain comes in. Jimmy Miller comes out with a 4 foul. 70-27. Tigers up. 2:58 to play in the third quarter. As Brian Eddy with the ball for Parkersburg. Into the front court with it to Moore. Gives it back outside to Eddy. Looking underneath. Gives it to Moore. He's in the corner firing the baseline. That's Richard Moore firing. Good. 70-29. As St. Clair into the front court with it for the Tigers. Has the pass intercepted by Moore. As Richard Moore moves it to the front court. Moves it to Cutlip. Firing off the baseline. No good. Rebound. Fought for, knocked loose, knocked out of bounds. Into the ball game is Tony Gowdy for Parkersburg. 70-29 as Mike Eads brings it up against the Parkersburg press. Has it kicked loose by Jeff Eddy. No call on kicking the ball as Jeff Eddy picks it up. Takes it to the front court as St. Clair goes after him. And he gets it over to Gowdy and it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be Tiger ball. We're getting kind of sloppy now.
Yes.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Thank you. Somebody handed me my pen back after it came out from underneath the bleachers. As Mike Eads gets it to Jeff St. Clair. They go to Adams into the front court. Back to Eads. Eads to Stephon on the baseline. Works around Moore. Fakes. Now he fires. Off the iron. No good. Rebound to Eads in traffic. Fakes. Fires. Good. Mike Eads pumping underneath. 72-29.
Mike Eads has 19 points.
As Moore into the front court where they get it out to Jeff Eddy, firing over top of Stephon, and it's good. He is fouled by Stephon, I believe. It's either Stephon or Adams, I'm not sure which. And it is on Stephon Strain. And it used to be Stephon Murray. That's number 4 on Stephon. Team foul number 4 on the Tigers.
Hey, that ain't right.
And our bench may be tested tonight with David Phillips not even dressed in the ball game. Of course, it's not going to be tested, but
I don't believe so. And then he misses the free throw.
So we may have to go to it.
Cutlip goes to the baseline, fires, good. Greg Cutlip. 72-33. As St. Clair with the ball against the press, gets it to Eads. Eads on the far side, still on the back court, gives it back to St. Clair. Now they go to Adams. In the front court is Jeff. Holds it overhead, gives it to Eads. Eads goes to the lane. Gives it underneath to DeWitt. Goes under, flips it to Stephon. He puts it up and in. Ready play. As Eddy with the ball in the front court for Parkersburg. Brian Eddy gets it outside to Greg Cutlip. To Richard Moore. Moore flips it all the way back across court to Brian Eddy. Firing from way outside. Good. Boy, he just counted that one in from 25 feet. 74-35 as Eads working against the press in the backcourt. Gets it to St. Clair. Jeff gets it upstairs to Adams. Adams to Stephon. Goes under. Fires. Good. And And the Snowbird comes back for Parkersburg. They get it to Brian Eddy on the full court left pass. It's good. 76-37 on the full court pass by Parkersburg. As he's with the ball for Princeton into the front court with it to the win, into the corner to Adams on the baseline, fires. He is fouled by Moore. That's number 3 on Moore. And team foul number 4 on the base. Team foul number 3. As we get into the ball game, Mike Eakins back in for Parkersburg.
Number 5, hits third.
And we'll have Jeff Adams on the line for the Tigers. We've got 45 seconds left to play in the third quarter. As Adams fires, no good. He'll have a second one. He did it with any good, and he left his hand. He did a little jig out there on the line trying to coax it.
This is probably Jeff's best game of the season. He has, so far in the ball game, 6 points.
As Jeff fires, it's off the iron, no good. Stefan goes under, contesting for it. We got a jump ball as Stefan goes to the middle of the lane. And he and Eddie will jump it up. Jeff Eddy. Now, they're about the same height, but Eddie's got him to 30 pounds or 40 or something.
Stefan says, I don't have to have all that to go up with.
Now, Stefan will go up with him. As the Witt setting in the middle of the lane, I'm back on the foul line. They're trying to pinch him back there, but he holds his position. And he tips control by Stefan. Gets it to Eads. Eads goes to the lane. He'll fire from 16 feet. It's off the iron. No good. Tipped up by Adams. It didn't go. And rebound comes down to Eddie up Parkersburg. Gets it out to the front court to Eakins. Trying to get it to Brian Eddy. Bounced it all the way to the Tigers' dressing room. Boy, that was some kind of bounce pass, wasn't it? He bounced up on the far side over, bounced it one time in the lane. That ball took off. Like
that reminds me of Charlie Wright trying to hit a Q straight into the ball straight into the pocket.
The 76-37.
Oh, wow.
Stefan open. He got it. 78-37. Tigers up with 17 seconds to play in the third quarter. As Eakins with the ball in the front court for Parkersburg. Gives it to Moore. Moore looking underneath, and they try and get it to Eddie. It's knocked loose out of bounds by the Witt. As Gowdy was involved in the play there, the ball knocked out of bounds. It'll be Parkersburg's ball as Moore will inbound it. He gives it to Brian Eddy. Eddy way outside. Goes way across court with it to Moore. Firing from way outside. It's off the iron. No good. Rebound to Gowdy. Fires and Jeff St. Clair said, no, sir, buddy. And he really polarized him. That's number 3 on Jeff. And team foul number 5 on the Tigers. So Gowdy will shoot 2 free throws. Jeff said, if you're going to get that 2 points, you're going to get them from 15 feet. Ain't no way you're going to put that ball back up there. Because he really wound up and clobbered that ball and came by him, didn't he?
Well, I already got it before he actually got the ball.
What did got to do with it? He didn't want him to put that ball in.
No, he didn't. He didn't put that ball up.
Okay.
What's going on?
38. Tigers up right now. Gowdy fires again. It's good. So at the end of 3 quarters to play, the Princeton Tigers 78, the Parkersburg Big Red 39, and we'll be back right after this.
First high school gym getting ready for the fourth quarter. Princeton leading 78-39. And Charlie, do you have some team statistics?
58%.
Start all over again, Charlie.
For Princeton in the third quarter, they made 10 out of 17 for 58%. They pulled down 9 rebounds and committed 4 turnovers. For Princeton in the first quarter, they shot 58%. In the second quarter, they shot 50%. And in the third quarter, they shot 58%. So that's pretty consistent shooting. Jack, you have Parkersburg shooting?
Well, Parkersburg warmed up a little bit in the third quarter. They were 8 for 15 for 55%. They had 5 rebounds and only 2 turnovers in that quarter.
Getting better. All right, 78-39 as we start the fourth quarter. As Tigers had got 23 points in the third quarter. And Parkersburg got 18 points. So now we'll have Jeff Adams to jump against Gowdy. And the tip controlled by the Big Red as he tipped it to Eddie. Eddie goes down, fires no good. Rebound pulled down by Eads. They double team him. He still got the ball. Gets it outside to Jeff St. Clair. Jeff to the front court with it for Princeton. The Tigers out here right now with Eads and St. Clair, DeWitt, Stephon Strain, and Jeff Adams. As DeWitt with the ball out front right now, working against the press. Gives it to St. Clair. The Tigers working a four-corner offense to get some experience on this. Gives it back to Eads. Eads out front with it. Gives it to St. Clair. Jeff comes across. Starts it to the lane. Leaves it for DeWitt. DeWitt fakes. Starts it down the lane. And he pulls up. Fires out of the lane. No good. Tipped up by Eads. Mike Eads tipped it up and in. 80-39. Tigers up. As Brian Eddy into the front court with it for the Big Red. Trying to get it to Jeff Eddy. Throws it to his hands and out of bounds. And it'll make a Tiger ball in the back court as the Big Red will press. As they get it into St. Clair. Working on Moore. Behind the back dribble. Picks the pass up. Gives it up to Stephon. Stephon lost it. Now he picks it up. Now he fires off the glass. Got it. Looked like an afterthought, but looked like the thing to do. 82 to
Nobody came over to him.
82-39. Tigers on top. As Moore into the front court with it for Parkersburg. Firing from 20 feet. It's good. As St. Clair works against Moore in the back court. Brings it to the front court. They double team him. Ball slips and picked up by Gowdy. Gets it out to Brian Eddy. Goes down, lays it up. Good. Brian Eddy. As Mike Eads into the front court with it for Princeton. Comes down the lane. Fires from the side. Good. And Eads hits it from about 9 feet. 84-43 as Richard Moore brings it to the front court for Parkersburg. Gives it to Brian Eddy. As the Tigers playing a 2-1-2 zone right now. That's a 1-3-1. As Jeff Eddy takes the driving from the baseline. No good. Ball kicked around and picked up by Stephon. Gets it out to DeWitt. DeWitt works on Brian Eddy into the front court with it. Works on Gowdy. Goes down, lays it up and in. 86-43. As Jeff Eddy gets it to Gowdy in the front court for Parkersburg, we got a traveling call.
We're going to get Jimmy Miller back into the ball game, and that ought to upset the Parkersburg folks a little bit.
Well, he's working on season stats just like anybody else. 86-43. And everybody bought a ticket, came down to watch Jim play.
That's true.
So St. Clair inbounds it, gets it up to DeWitt. DeWitt into the front court. It's a Stephon. Goes under. Fakes. Fires it over his head. No good. Tipped up. Ball still good. Ball goes to the floor. Picked up by Jeff Eddy at Parkersburg. Gives it out to Richard Moore. Moore into the front court with it for Parkersburg. To the left side to Brian Eddy. Back to Moore. Firing from 23 feet. Off the iron. No good. St. Clair picks up the rebound. St. Clair into the front court with it. Drives. Lays it up. Good. On a flying driving play by St. Clair. 88-43. The Tigers enjoying a big lead. As the Big Red trying to go deep. They go to Eddy on the baseline, puts it up and in. Jeff Eddy. 88-45 now. The Tigers out in front. As DeWitt with the ball in the backcourt, leaves it for St. Clair. Jeff brings it to the front court with a pretty behind the back dribble. Goes down to the lane, and we've got a roadblock thrown, and they call the foul on Jeff.
I believe it's a charging foul on Jeff St. Clair. We'll see in a minute.
Gowdy left his feet.
It is on Gowdy.
Okay, it's on Gowdy. I thought it had to be. That's number 1 on Gowdy. Team foul number 4 on the Big Red, and that'll put St. Clair on the line. How many team fouls? 4?
I have 4 fouls, but they have 4.
They'll be out of bounds to the Tigers.
Yeah, they're going to take it out now.
Man, I need to shoot that out of the roadblock. And so DeWitt will inbound it. And somebody came in from Parkersburg right there. I don't know who it was. Ben Wilson, I think. Yeah. As DeWitt inbounds it to Eads. Firing out of the corner. It's off the iron. No good. Rebound. Tipped out. Picked up by Eads in traffic. Eads starts it back to the baseline. Looking for Miller. Gets it to Miller. Jim comes to the corner with it. They go back to Eads to try and get underneath the Stephon. It's kicked back outside, and Eads picks it up again. Gives it to St. Clair. Now the Tigers will spread it out. Eads and St. Clair out front, working on the dribble. Eads with the ball right now. Starts it into the lane. Goes down, lays it up off the glass, no good. Rebound. Kicked out to Parkersburg. Moore into the front court with it. Top of the key, looking underneath, they go with it underneath, trying to get it underneath to Eakins. It's knocked out of bounds, and it'll be Princeton ball.
We'll get Scooter Brill in for Jeff St. Clair, I believe.
As Jeff comes over to get a blow and gets a hand check from a couple of players, Jeff played extremely well tonight. As the press of Parkersburg against the Tigers, DeWitt with the ball. He gets it to Miller. Has a knock loose. Miller picks it up in the back court, gets it to Eads. Eads starts it across the center court into the front court with it now. Directing traffic, a double team him. He goes to DeWitt, and he is fouled by Eakins. That's number 2 on Eakins. Team foul number 5 on the Big Red, so that will put the Tigers on the free throw line now. Eads will go to the line to shoot a 1-on-1.
Michael Eakins in second.
We got 4 minutes and 24 seconds left to play in the ball game. Princeton 88, Parkersburg 45.
Mike Eads has 23 points on the night. It might be his highest scoring night.
I think it is. He had 23 against Bluefield, or 21.
21 against Bluefield.
Okay, as the rebound, the free throw, no good. Kicked outside by Parkersburg. They go to Moore. Moore in the front court, firing out of the lane, good. As DeWitt inbounds it to Will. They go to Stephon. Up floor to Miller. And the ball got loose as Jim getting ready to slam dunk it. He lost the ball. DeWitt takes it, puts it in the bucket from 20 feet. James DeWitt, 90-47. As Parkersburg comes to the offense now. Moore with the ball. A 1-3-1 zone for the Tigers. They move it to Ben Wilson. Wilson on the left side to Gowdy, firing off the wing. No good. Rebound to Miller in traffic. Out to Quill as Scooter goes down. Drops it over to Eads. Eads underneath. We got a whistle to foul. Somebody went under him, I believe.
Foul's on Brian. No, it's on Wilson.
That's 4 on Wilson. Wilson. As they say now, almost Wilson boys.
Wilson boys?
Here.
I would call Benjamin Wilson.
Hey, I saw where there's a player in Kentucky for one of the larger schools by the name of May. Todd May.
He said that's so is Virgie. Of course, all those scoundrels down there probably relate to me one way or other. He's ready to fire one more time. 91-47. Eads fires. It's on the iron. No good. Stephon almost tipped it outside. Picked up by Gowdy now. Gets it outside to Moore. And the front court whip throws it out of bounds. It'll be Tiger ball. We've had a lot of relatives around in sports. You remember a kid who used to play basketball at University of Dayton, Don May? Remember a guy caught for the Pirates, Jerry May? All part of the same clan, see? As Will gets it to DeWitt. DeWitt goes under, lays up and in. Did he travel?
No, absolutely not.
Shorty says he did, but he got
a stretch on that move.
93-47. And Wilson with the ball in the front court for Parkersburg. 2 more. Back to Wilson. Now to Gowdy. Goes across the lane. The elbows his way in. That's got to be an offensive foul. It is. Because he just flat out put his head down and drove. That's the foul number 2 on Gowdy.
Getting JoJo Harrison into the ball game for James DeWitt.
Okay, Clemens into the ball game and Harrison into the ball game. Parkersburg will press now. As Reeves with the ball in the backcourt for the Tigers. Brings it to the front court. They lead it out to Jim. Goes under. Puts it up and in. Jim Miller. 95-47. Tigers up with 3 minutes and 6 seconds to play. As Parkersburg with Gowdy in the corner with it. Has the ball knocked loose. Picked up by Wilson of Parkersburg. Goes down the lane. Gets it over to Eakins and has a shot blocked, but we had a traveling call before the shot as Miller really cleaned that shot. And we get Harrison to the ball game, and Miller comes out for the night.
Miller, although he was injured early in the ball game, had 16 points on 8 field goals and did not attempt any shots from the free throw line.
As Harrison dribbling with the ball for the Tigers now brings it to the front court, working against Eakins. Into the front court, they double team him. Gets it to Eads. Eads on the wing. And we got a whistle and a foul on Eakins. I think it'll put Eads on the line. 2:47 to play. That's number 3 on Eakins. Tigers on top, 95-47. Coming into the ball game for Parkersburg is Jeff Rohr, number 33, and he's limping pretty badly going in. Is his foot asleep?
I noticed that Joe Woods did not play in the second half of this ball game.
He didn't come back to the bench. He stayed in the dressing room, didn't he?
No, he came out and then went back in very early in the third quarter.
Eads on the line now for the Tigers with 2:47 to play. Eads fires. It's good. 96-47. As Mike will have one more. He fires. It's good. 97-47. Tigers out by 50. Is that right? By 50?
That's 50. That's right.
As East comes out of the ball game now with 2:47 to play.
I think he comes out of the ball game with
a bunch. That's come up into the front court with it for Parkersburg. Goes to the far side with it to Roll. Roll looks underneath, has a knock loose. Harrison picks it up for the Tigers. They double team him. He gets it up to Will. Scooter into the front court with it. Trying to hit David Tabor, who is in the ball game for the Tigers, and throws it out of bounds. 97-47 as Cutler brings it to the front court. Gets it underneath to Wilson. Wilson back outside to Cutler, firing and hits it. Cutler hits the bucket for Parkersburg. Harrison with the ball for the Tigers. Working on the far side, gets it to Clemens, knocked loose by Wilson, picked up by Eakins, underneath with it. To Tabor, puts it up no good. That was Roar, put it up no good. Rebound comes off to Tabor. Tabor with the ball in the backcourt for the Tigers. Gets it to Quill. Quill to Harrison. Harrison into the front court with it. Starts it down the left side. Fires out of the corner. Good. Joseph gives the Tigers 99 points to 49 for Parkersburg. As Philip into the front court with it for Parkersburg. Into the corner with it to Roar. Fires. Good. Jeff Roar hits it for Parkersburg. 99-51. As Will gets it to Tabor. Boy, is he covered by Jeff Roar.
Oh, they called the foul, a blocking foul on Tabor.
No, they called on Roar. No, they called charging foul.
No, they didn't call charging.
He gave the motion for charging right there.
33.
Charging is an offensive foul.
Over in the corner to my right. Be there to identify it and claim it.
Now, David Tabor had the ball.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't seen David Tabor in the varsity ball game very often this year.
And Tabor's on the free throw line for the Tigers, and he's going to shoot a 1-and-1. A minute 38. Heel Tabor could give the Tigers 100 points right here.
Yes, he sure could.
It's on the way. It's good. David Tabor puts the Tigers at 100 to 51 for Parkersburg. A minute 38 to play. As Tabor on the line for one more. He fires. It's off the iron, no good. Rebound in the lane to Rusty Harris, and we got traveling. Now, they blew a whistle. Somebody in the stands blew a whistle. Harris turned around, took a step, and they called him for traveling. A minute 26 to play. Coming into the ballgame for Parkersburg is James Morrison. Harris said it sounded like a whistle to him. It sounded like one to make two.
Yes, it did.
All right, Parkersburg on the offense now as Mikes brings the ball to the front court. Into the corner with it to Gowdy. Outside to Meade. Firing no good. And it'll be Parkersburg ball. As Steve Meade it is. Fired that one no good. And the Tigers have got Harris and Clemens. The inbounds pass comes in to Roar. Puts it up and in. Roar scores for Parkersburg. As Harrison into the front court with it for Princeton now. Starts it across the lane. Firing from 16 feet off the egg glass and iron, no good. Rebound pulled down by Parkersburg. Wood, as Will knocks the outlet pass out of bounds. The Tigers have got Rusty Harris and Troy Clemens. Check me, please. David Tabor, Scooter Will in the ballgame right now. As the Parkersburg with the ball. Goes to the far side with it to Mike. Firing good. Mark Mike gets it for Parkersburg. 100 to 55. As Will bring it to the front court for Princeton. They go underneath with it to Harris. Firing. It's in and out. No good. Rebound tipped out by Harrison. Goes to the floor. Tabor scrapping for it on there. And it'll be a jump ball between Tabor and Mikes. David Tabor will jump against Mark Mikes. As the tip controlled by the Big Red is pulling it down is Morris. Morris to the front court with it. Goes to the baseline. Looking now, firing his foul, and the foul will be called on Will. That's number 1 on Grill 2. That's number 2 on School. You want to tell me how many team fouls it is?
You might as well ask me how many field goals Princeton's made tonight.
All right, how many field goals is it?
At 34th in the third quarter.
That's pretty good. As Morris fires the free throw, it's good. He'll have a second one. Charlie, did you tell him that answer?
I didn't tell you.
Morris fires the second free throw. It's good. 100-57 with 45 seconds to play. As Tabor with the ball gets it to the front court, holds up. We got a traveling call. 40 seconds to play now. As Mikes will inbound it to Morris. As they go to the far side to Make. Firing is good. Made hits it from outside. And the inbound pass deflected by Parkersburg, so Princeton will get it again on the baseline. As we will have Tabor to inbound it. Tabor gets it into Harrison. Harrison on the move with it. Towards the front court. Weaves his way to the front court. They go underneath to Clemens. Firing. Good. Troy Clemens. 102-59. Tigers on top now. As Morris brings it to the front court to Gowdy. Firing way out of the corner. No good. Rebound to Harris for the Tigers. Leads it out to Will. They got Harrison open on the far side. Over to Harrison. Fires and it is good. Joseph Harrison. 104-59. Was that Harrison or Clemens?
Clemens, I believe.
Was it Clemens? Okay. And we got a whistle and a foul up court. I thought that was Harrison. But it was Clemens, huh?
It's Clemens.
Okay. As Clemens hit the bucket for the Tigers. And we'll have a foul. Who's the foul caller? Anybody know? Don't guess it makes any difference right now. Steve Maid will be on the line for Parkersburg, firing a free throw. Good. He'll have a second one. Maid fires. It's good. 104-61. As the upcourt pass goes to Harrison, firing from way outside the buzzer. No good. They went in, but they won't count it. Final score, the Princeton Tigers, 104. Parkersburg Big Red, 61. And we'll be right back with more. First, let's pause for this. The final score of the ball game was the Princeton Tigers 104, Parkersburg Big Red 61. As the Tigers put together 4 good quarters tonight. 26 points in the first quarter, 29 in the second, 23 in the third, 26 in the fourth for a game total of 104 points. Parkersburg had 10 points in the first quarter, 11 points in the second quarter, 18 in the third quarter, 22 in the fourth quarter for a game total of 61. Final score, Princeton 104, Parkersburg 61. Now, we'll be back with all the stats. First, let's pause for this message.
Okay, we'll probably give the individual stats first while Charlie's doing his percentages, which may take a while. Mike Eads had 11 field goals, was 4 of 7 at the foul line, 26 points. Jeff St. Clair had 5 field goals, a perfect 4 of 4 from the foul line, 15 points. James DeWitt had 10 field goals, 1 of 1 at the foul line, 21 points. Stephon Strain had 5 field goals, 1 of 2 at the foul line, 11 points. Jimmy Miller had 8 field goals. He did not go to the foul line. He did not play probably half of this ball game, 16 points. Probably better than half of the ball game. Jeff Adams came in 2 field goals, 2 of 6 at the foul line, 6 points. Scooter Will had 1 field goal for 2 points. Joseph Harrison had 2 field goals, 1 field goal for 2 points. Tabor had 1 of 2 at the foul line for 1 point. Troy Clemens was 2 field goals for 4 points, giving the Princeton team a total of 45 field goals, 14 of 23 from the foul line, and an excellent night for the Tigers. For the Big Reds, Richard Ralph Moore, Noah Moore, West Virginia University's younger brother, 4 field goals, 8 points. Greg Cutlip, 4 field goals, 8 points. Brian Eddy, 4 field goals, 8 points. Joe Woods, who did not play in the second half, 2 field goals, 4 of 6 from the foul line, 8 points. Jeff Eddy, the horse for this Parkersburg Big Red team, 6 field goals, 2 of 5 from the foul line, 14 points. Mark Mikes, 1 field goal, 2 points. Ben Wilson did not score, but he did play. James Morris Ben Wilson was 2 of 2 at the foul line, 2 points. Mike Eakins was 1 of 3 at the foul line, 1 point. Jeff Roy had 2 field goals for 4 points. Steve Maid was 1 field goal, 2 of 2 at the foul line, 4 points. And Tony Gowdy had 2 free throws, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 points for Parkersburg, 24 field goals compared with 45 for Princeton, 13 of 20 from the foul line compared with 14 of 23 for Princeton. Charlie Wright.
Let's break for a commercial and come back with Charlie's team stats. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, I got the game stats here for Princeton. They made 48 out of 79 for 60%. They pulled down 46 rebounds, committed 17 turnovers. For Parkersburg, they pulled down 25 rebounds, committed 22 turnovers, and they was 24-59 for 40% to the field. Princeton shot pretty consistently through the whole game there, Glenn.
Yes, they did.
They shot 50%. In the second half, they shot 58%.
Give me those rebounds again.
Okay, for 25 for Parkersburg and 46 for Princeton.
25 and 46. Okay, Princeton shot 60% on how many from how many?
48 out of 79.
48 for 79. And Parkersburg shot what?
24 out of 50 for 40%.
Okay. We had you 45. We got Coach Ralph Ball moving in with us right now. And okay, here's as Ralph Ball comes in, and Coach will get you a mic over here. And the Tigers came out after the layoff, which sometimes is good, sometimes bad, but they seem to really have their shooting touch tonight and shot well early.
Yeah, well, I guess that's one of the big factors, how well we shot and how poor they shot.
At one time during the first quarter, Princeton was shooting 73%.
Right, well, that makes a big difference. We were seemingly more ready than they were. Of course, they had a big drive down here, and that made a difference. Probably they never got unwound. I think they shot so bad, and I know that they was doing things right, but they just shot poor tonight.
Well, that's true, but however, the Tigers had 26 points in the first quarter, came back with 29 in the second quarter, with 23 in the third, and back with 26 in the fourth. Now, I don't see much of a letdown there.
Right, that's one good thing our boys did tonight. They got ahead and they didn't ease up, and sometimes there's a tendency to do that. But like I say, I wish Parkersburg had been a little tougher, because we're going to need it to go into this game next Tuesday night with Norfolk, because we need an opponent very capable like Norfolk is.
Well, that's true. Norfolk's very tough. But to talk a little more about the Parkersburg game now, of course, they got very rough down out of the buckets, and they were letting Eddie go inside, and Eddie's a very big, strong kid. And so they got a couple of fouls on Jim, and then Eddie really went to him when Jim got his eye injured. And, of course, the thing that the officials going to let him get away with that, you're going to expect injuries.
Well, right. I thought a couple of his first call I thought was real questionable. He was just standing there, and I didn't even see him move, and they called it pretty close on. Some officials seemingly watch a good boy closer than other people do. I thought he was a victim of circumstance there a couple of times, and then of course he got hurt, and our other kids had to play hard because Jimmy didn't play probably half the games, about all.
But now Jim, even though he scored 16 points tonight, I don't know what his rebound total was, but he rebounded extremely well while he was in there.
Plays real good. Jimmy's playing more consistent, stronger, better ball, and like I said, I just wished he could have played more against a real tough opponent.
Let's talk just a little bit about Jimmy, if you don't mind. Of course, now you coached Jim for 3 years, and I guess he's been a very super kid, attitude-wise, and giving you 100% anytime you ask it of him, and just does what you ask him to do, doesn't he?
Yeah, Jimmy's working hard and has had a lot of publicity, a lot of attention, and seemingly it hadn't bothered his game. He plays hard and works hard and tries to improve himself. And a lot of boys maybe get that much attention wouldn't do that, but he has done a real job handling it.
But now there are several other kids on the team, and especially some of your seniors tonight, that just played extremely well. And of course, you got, I think probably St. Clair overall maybe the best game of the season for him. He just can run the offense, shot well, played defense.
Well, just played good the last 2 or 3 ball games. Played real consistent ball, and I think he's playing more steady and makes a big difference. We had a good game out of DeWitt, and James He got 21 points. It was real good for him. Now, I imagine he got a bunch of rebounds. Mike had an outstanding scoring, and all 5 starters there, including Stefan, was in double figures, so that helps quite a bit.
Of course, the thing that you, I guess, really are concerned about now going into the Norfolk game is that you get started in the game without a bad break just taking off.
Well, we know that they're a good ball team, and we have to play real good, and it's kind of games you want. It makes you play better ball, and we're looking forward to playing because they are a very outstanding ball team. I think they rated number 2 in the state, so we definitely got our hands full to try to upset them.
Well, I think that the Tigers built some momentum here tonight. Of course, as you say, we wanted a little tougher game to sharpen up on, but still, momentum is very important, and the Tigers, I'm sure, will go in feeling that they can move the ball and can score against Norfolk.
Right. It's much better going there with a win than it would be if I was right.
That's true. And, of course, that's next Tuesday night over at Brushfork Armory.
At Brushfork, right. And it should be an outstanding ball game. I think 2 of the better teams in the state will be playing that night.
Well, there's no doubt in anybody's mind it's 2 of the top 5 teams in the state going at it right there at Brushfork. And, of course, Norfolk is battle-tested, as is Princeton battle-tested. You look back over the records over the last 2, 3, 4 years, and I guess that the records those 2 teams have put together will match about anything in the country.
Right, and we've been all for close ball games with them every time, and it seems like a team that can keep her well, maybe just play very calm throughout the ball game makes a big difference. And you get down at the stage, you can't have many bad lapses or bad quarters or bad even minutes or 2 and win, really.
The thing that I guess makes it so important, I guess a team like Norfolk or Norfolk Queen Princeton early in the ball game is you can't really afford to have that lapse because it's so hard to come back against somebody like that.
Right, they're a very strong ball team. Like I say, they got 6 out of their 8 starters they had last year back. And don't many teams have that. We've got 9 seniors playing, so they got a lot of experience. And like I say, it'd be taking an outstanding game from us, and we're looking forward to playing the game.
Okay, Coach, we're going to let you go because we know you got things to do with people down there to see. But, Ralph, it's good to talk with you. Congratulations on a big win. Now, Parkersburg is always one of the real name schools of the state, and it's always good to beat Parkersburg.
Right. It was a good victory, and like I said, our kids played real good, and I'm very much assured that Parkersburg is better than they showed tonight. They just had a bad night.
Well, part of their bad night was Princeton jumping all over them.
Well, we intended to play as tough as we could. Well, I'm not trying to take anything away from us, but like I say, I feel sure they play better, and wish them all the luck in the world and hope we can play better.
Okay, Coach Ralph Ball, the Princeton Tigers, congratulations on a big win as they push that season record on out to the 5 big wins and the 2 losses. And we're going to be wrapping up, but first, let's pause 30 seconds for this commercial message. We're at Parkersburg, and I'm glad that Parkersburg got the ride this year rather than us.
Well, I sure am, too. I believe last year, coming back from Parkersburg, Princeton had van problems, didn't they? And they got back late from Parkersburg. It was Huntington or Parkersburg?
That's Huntington it was, because Parkersburg, we were coming back, and the van almost blew us off.
Yes, I did see an odd driver or 2 driving vans. We don't want to give the impression though that they were going very fast. It's just that you were going very slow.
Princeton JVs were beaten tonight, 74 to 62. But the Princeton Tigers won big, 104 to 61, running that season out to 5-2. Norfolk next Tuesday night at the Brushfork Armory. And I would say that if you want a seat, you better get there early.
That's for sure.
That's sure. It's going to be a good rematch.
Bob, you go about lunch and save us a seat, will you?
Well, I thought you were going to save the seats. Jimmy Miller needs 58 points for his 1,000. What would you say, 2 ball games? 2.5?
All right, see, we got Norfolk at the Armory, Greenbrier East here at home, Mountain View here at home on next Tuesday, the February 3rd. What we got is Norfolk next Tuesday at the Armory. Then on Friday the 30th, next a week from tonight, Greenbrier East. Possibly he can get us 1,000 point right there. If not, Tuesday, February the 3rd against Mountain View here at home. So chances are very good that Jimmy will break that 1,000 point barrier here at home.
Probably will. Probably next Friday, I predict.
Okay, I'm Glenn May, and I'm speaking on behalf of Charlie Wright, Jack O'Leary, Bob Grant, Craig, the whole Bellicose group, saying we appreciate the fact that you allowed us to be a part of your evening. The fact of the matter is, we say thanks so much for listening. Good night, all.